All right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel. Everybody say hello to Ren and Stimpy, Powder Toast Man, Log TV, and Choo Choo, and let's get started with today's video. Okay, so this one comes from Civivi through the Apex Pass Around group. This is the Civivi Foldis. Let's see if that'll focus. Black G10 handle, Nitro V, black stonewash blade. And these obviously come through Civivi and come through to the Pass Around group so we can check them out. This is a Ostap Hel Design Double Detent knife. I'm looking at Blade HQ and there are 3 versions of this, all currently in stock. Sorry, I'm choking. The black G10 with the black blade, the oh boy, what is that? Brown linen micarta with a black wash blade, and those are $59.75 and $61.50, and then you jump up to $79 for the one with the copper hand rubbed finish on the handle and a stonewash blade. But really cool. So let's talk about this particular one. Again, designed by Ostap Hel. You can see already it is a small pocket knife. What I love right off the bat is the wire clip, which is reversible. So yeah, this is an ambidextrous knife. You have the contoured, chamfered off G10 with this cool design here, and I really like it. You have everything. I mean, the blade fits mostly inside the handle. You have this little low profile top flipper. It is just very elegant and gentlemanly looking because of its just kind of quiet, unassuming, not really intimidating looking or anything like that right off the bat. Now again, this one is $59.75, and you can see that first detent. I tried to reach for the liner lock. It doesn't have one. That first detent is really good. That detent that pops it out is fantastic. Got nice jimping up here. As you can see, we do have black screws. Everything is so nicely finished. And by the way, there are no body screws, which I think is interesting. You do have a hidden lanyard post, open construction with a lot of, by the way, you do have exposed liners, but you do have a lot. No, wait a minute. There is no, wow, it looked like it at first. There is no skeletonization, but this thing is very light. Thin liners, but you don't need them to be thick because they're not the lock. The detent is the closest thing you have to a lock. You do have a barrel spacer that coincides with the pocket clip screw, and then that is it. So you have a pivot screw and a barrel spacer screw that is the pocket clip screw, and that is it. Good jimping on that flipper, and you can see I can do that very easily, which says a lot. Now, let's talk about double detents, because I don't think what I'm about to say is 100% locked in on this particular Civivi model. By the way, this is a 2.67-inch black stonewash blade. Let's just do the specs while I'm here. 6.37 inches overall. The cutting edge is 2.5. 0.10 stock, so very thin. You do have jimping here. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Flat grind blade. The handle length is 3.78. I can get 4 fingers on that handle just, and I can do like this as well. And it feels good. And that pocket clip is not a big deal for me. You can feel it, but it's not bad. You saw me just break the detent there. Right hand, left hand, tip up, 1.9 ounces, designed by Ostap Hel. And again, $59.75 at Blade HQ. Now, so there's a little bit of back and forth play, but again, don't forget, we don't have a lock. We just have a detent holding that in. We do have some jimping that comes down from here. So this is your flipper tab, and then it ends up down here. And we have some jimping up on the blade proper, as you can see there. Civivi logo. So good sharpening choil, by the way, before I forget, but nowhere to choke up at all. You do have Ostap Hel Design here, and that is all you see on the blade. That's it. Very cool. So let's talk about double detents. I started this a minute ago. A double detent is not a locking knife, and a lot of people compare them to slip joints, but to me, I don't know a slip joint that breaks down that easy. And the difference is when you start pushing a slip joint down, you have a slow travel that is nice and smooth, and you can hold up and it'll punch back. In this case, once you break that detent, that blade is coming down with your finger. And that's that. You know what I'm saying? It's just literally a detent. And this one breaks very easy. So back to this jimping. The jimping is good, but I'm not using it, okay? When I cut with this knife, I'm doing this because my tendency is to push down. So I'm not even sure why that jimping is there. Unless maybe you use it while you're cutting against something really hard. But for me, then I would come out the other side and I would just pop that. You know what I'm saying? That's my issue with the double detent knife, not necessarily with this particular design. Now this guy, now see I'm doing it again. This guy does cut nice and thin, does cut very, very nicely. There you go. I came out because it's a shorter blade. I keep putting my thumb up there because that's what I'm used to. But it does slice. It is a slicey, cutty kind of knife. By the way, it does have black stonewash rather than a shiny black coating, which I prefer. Very, very nice knife. Now, so I've heard, here's the thing, a double detent, you should just be able to throw it down, and that's about right, okay? For me, if I poke it, it's going down, okay? You see that? Very, very nice. Now, sometimes I don't let it get settled before I flip again, and that's not good. Now, it does bounce back every once in a while depending on how hard you push it, which is why I think they didn't go with a harder one here, because if your detent on this second detent was a little harder, then you would have a real hard break followed by a wham and a bounce back. So I think they keep that top one light so that you can settle it on the way back down. Does that make sense? That's my theory here. And again, so in that case, they've done exactly what they needed to do to make this a successful knife because, again, I can easily push it most of the time back into place. See that? Without it bouncing back. If it was harder, I think I'd push it too hard. Watch this. If I push, let me just give it as much as I can. Okay, well, it didn't push back that time. Yeah, see, it's not bouncing back now. So the theory is exploded, and I was out of the frame anyway. But yeah, it works pretty well. But again, don't treat it like a slip joint, in my opinion, and don't treat it like a locking knife. Because sometimes I'm up here for a slip joint, but I'm not worried because it'll start to move and then I stop and it bounces back. In this case, if I break it, it's breaking, okay? It's coming, it's going to come back down towards my hand, and I'm just, when I cut with this, I'm staying up off of that. So that's Casey's double detent philosophy, if you will. Again, a really cool knife, very small, great fifth pocket knife because it's concealed in the blade like that. And I like the action of it way better than some of the other small designs like this that I've seen that I haven't been able to actuate because this sticks up with that kind of buzz cut there. I can grab that easily and flick it open. It is so easy. But again, don't expect it to act like a locking knife or even like a slip joint. And that's, again, somebody's going to tell you something else. That's just my thoughts on it. And you can agree with me or disagree with me down below in the comments. But very cool knife, great design, phenomenal design. I would love to see this same design in a liner lock, but then it would be a little bit thicker and a little bit heavier if you did that. So just bear all those things in mind. There's things, there's consequences to every decision, if you will, in a design process. So give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you think. And guys, do all the things. Like, comment, subscribe, and notification bell. Thank you, Civivi, for sending this one along. And thank you guys for watching the KnivesFAST channel.